In section 2.7, we're going to work on the slope formula. So we're going to find the slope given 2 points or perhaps given from a table. Okay, and just as a reminder, at the top it says the slope, which is letter M, is the change in y and change it over the change of x, which is why we often say rise over run. Okay, now example 1 is finding the slope from a table. If you already wrote this down with 2.4 notes, you do not need to write it again. But we didn't get to it in class, so most people did not write it down. Okay, so if I have a table and I want to find the slope, I'm going to use the fact that the slope is the change in y over the change in x. So I'm going to look at the y column first. Okay, let's see. If I go from 2 to -1, I want to think, how did that change? Did it go up or down? From going from 2 to -1, I did go down. And I actually went down 1, 2, 3 spaces. Okay, now in the x column, I'm going to compare the same two entries. So from x is 2 to x is 4, did I go up or down? I went up. How far up did I go from 2 to get to 4? I went up 2. Okay, since my slope is change in y over change in x, change in y was -3, change in x was +2. So this is my slope, change in y over change in x. And if that would simplify, I would simplify it. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and try the next one. It actually doesn't matter which 2 points you use. I try to pick ones that look easier. If the first 2 are not easy, I'd go to a different pair. Okay, so if I go from here to see the change in y, going from 6 to 8, am I going up or down? I'm going up, and I'm going up 2 units. So change in y. For the change in x, from 3 to 4, I'm going up 1 unit. Change in y over change in x. 2 divided by 1 is actually 2. So my answer is just 2. Okay, now if you had chosen a different pair of points, I'm going to show you how to do it. You don't need to write this down. So had I gone from 8 to 14, that would have been going up 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 6 units. And then if I had gone in the x column, going from 4 to 7, I would go up 3 units. If I had done change in y over change in x, I would have still gotten 2. So it really does not matter which 2 pairs of points you use. Really do pick the easiest ones if you have an option. Okay, we're going to do one more with the table. Okay, change in y, I'm going from 7 to 5. So I'm going down 2 units. That's what the y column changed by. Now in the x column, 3 to -2, I'm going down again. I'm going down 2, 1, 0, -1, -2. I'm going down 5 units. Okay, can I simplify this? I can cancel the negatives. So this is going to turn into +2 over 5. Okay, now we're going to cover the slope formula. The slope formula is how you can find the slope when you're given 2 points, and it's still the same idea as rise over run and from the table. Because the slope is the change in y over the change in x, to find the change in y, you subtract the two y values. We call it y2 minus y1. And to get change in x, you subtract the two x values. Okay, for these ordered pairs, we're going to try to use the slope formula to calculate it. So it says use the slope formula to find the slope of the line passing through the given points. Okay, they give me 2 points. Now, the little 1 and 2, they're called sub 1 and sub 2. They just indicate that it might be the first or second ordered pair. So since this 2, 1 is the first ordered pair, I'm going to call this x1, y1. Okay, since 5, 6 is my second ordered pair, this is my second x and my second y, or x2 and y2. Okay, it doesn't really matter which one's their first or second. I try to do the same thing every time, so it's a little bit less confusing. Okay, so my slope says y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So it's always going to start with this little setup of subtraction. Okay, so the y2 is 6 minus y1 is 1. Okay, now on the denominator x2, x1, 2. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and simplify this. 6 minus 1 is 5. 5 minus 2 is 3. Does that simplify? No, 5/3 is a good slope. Fractions are great with slope. If you forget the formula ever, you could also put these 2 points into an XY table and do change in X, change in Y. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing for these next ones. Okay, I like to set up the formula because I know it's always m equals, it's a fraction, it's subtract, subtract. Okay, on the top, y2 minus y1. So let me see, y2, y is always the second one, y1. Okay, denominator, x2, x1. Okay, once I have it plugged in, I'm going to subtract. 13 minus 1 is 12. 2 minus 5 is negative 3. Okay, and then 12 divided by negative 3 is negative 4. Okay, so while fractions are great, if you don't need a fraction, don't use a fraction. Okay, now I'm going to start introducing a little bit of negatives, but it's always the same formula. Okay, so m equals fraction, subtract, subtract. The y's are always on top because remember, rise is y. Okay, so y2 minus y1. Okay, and the denominator x2 minus x1. Oh, that's like an extra negative. Okay, I'll leave it like that for now, and then I'll think about this. Okay, in the numerator, negative 5 minus 3, since they're both minuses, I add them up, and it becomes more negative, negative 8. Okay, now for the denominator, I have a 2 minus a negative 1. When you see the minus and the negative next to each other like this, they end up canceling out into a positive. So this turns into 2 plus 1. Negative 8 over 3. That doesn't simplify, so that's a good answer the way it is. Okay, a couple more. Okay, same formula every time. Just sometimes you have to be careful with the negatives. So fraction is minus. Okay, in the numerator, let's see, y2, y1. And the denominator, x2, x1. Let's see, 0 divided by, since negative 3 minus 2 is both minuses, so it becomes more minus, minus 5. Okay, now 0 divided by negative 5. If you have no money and you share it with your 5 friends, everyone equally gets no money. Okay, so 0 on the top means 0 divided by negative 5, that's 0. Okay, last one. Okay, let's try this. M equals y. Okay, in the numerator, the y's, y, y. And the denominator, x, x. 4 divided by 0. If you got $4, you divide it into 0 people. That makes no sense because there's no people to even divide it into. So this is going to be undefined slope, which if you recall is when we have that weird vertical line. Okay, and when it slopes 0, if you think about it, that would be the totally flat line.